Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well. So this is Verbit TraX earning calls training. So TraX is a Verbit's generational platform which utilizes the power of teamwork to provide a near real-time transcript. So multiple transcribers work on the same job together, each assigned short tasks called segments. So in the past, TraX only offered legal deposition audio, but today Verbit TraX is introducing a new type of TraX jobs called earning calls audio. So this is what we're going to learn today in this short tutorial. So guys, let's dive into it. So the overall corrector responsibilities, so you as a corrector, when you are starting to work with Verbit on their TraX EC platform, what you do is you need to do 10 simple steps to make sure that you remain working in this platform, and also you do a job to the expectation of the company. So the first thing that you do when you are working with the Verbit TraX or training as a TraX corrector is first you need to confirm your attendance, and this is done through their Slack platform, where all the workers are convened and they get tasks through the platform. The second thing that you need to do is to access the job via the link that will be sent to you on Slack. So when you are already on Slack, a link will be sent to you. So this is when you are training, or when you there are jobs for maybe, let's say, volunteers. You'll be able to access this job via a link that will be sent to you on the Slack. So after you click the link, you will get a short audio segment to transcribe. Then you will listen to the audio and quickly correct the errors according to the guidelines with no research. So guys, you are not expected to do any research when working on this platform. Another responsibility of you as a corrector is that you will be able to separate the speakers. So when separate speakers are in the same segments, you will be able to separate them. So that's your task. So another responsibility is that you will be able to mark words that you are not 100% sure how to spell as unclear. So you are also expected to verify names, location, and professional terms within the glossary. And you can also add terms if needed. So you will find some terms that other correctors have added to the glossary, so you will need to be able to verify these terms, and also if their location or the professional terms or even names of people, then you will verify them, and if needed, add the new ones to the glossary. Another thing that you need to do is go over a second time if possible. So these segments that you have worked on, if you have enough time to go over them a second time or a third time, you should be able to go over it to make sure that the corrections that you made are correct ones, and also if you missed anything, that you can correct it again. Then the last step that you need to do is that you need to publish these segments before the time is up. Then you need to repeat the steps until the session ends. So guys, when we are talking about earning calls, we are talking about a conference call in which public company discusses financial results of a reporting period. Most public companies hold 4 calls per year, usually within a month after the completion of a quarter. So this means that the participants that you are going to encounter in these calls are namely the management company, which is usually the CEO and the CFO, that is the chief financial officer of these companies that are holding the calls. The next person that you may meet is the investors within these companies, and also the third person is the financial analyst. So you will encounter financial analysts within this call, and the first person that you may likely encounter in this call are the media. So these are the participants that you will meet within these calls. So talking about the structure of the earning calls or the EC calls, the earning calls are divided into 3 main parts. So we have the safe harbor statement, which is a disclaimer that the presentation will include forecasted financial results as well, which may differ from the actual results achieved. Another part of this call is the discussion of the financial results. So the company's management presents the results achieved in the reporting period and discusses future goals. And the last section of this call is the Q&A session. So this is where the financial analyst may ask questions, or even the media may ask questions towards the management of the company regarding the discussion that has been held during this period. So guys, it is very important to note that these earning calls has specific guidelines. So when you are working as a corrector, you need to follow these specific guidelines to the letter, so that you produce a uniform transcript that is acceptable and required by the company. So I've put up some of the important specific guidelines that you need to know before hopping onto the platform. So when you are accepted by this company to work on these calls, you will be provided with the specific guidelines. So they will send you a document with the specific guidelines that you need to read before you start working on these projects. So guys, here I have just put a few of the specific guidelines that you really need to know. So these are the main parts of the guideline that you really need to know before starting to work on these projects. First of all guys, these projects require clean read transcription. So the expectation is that you already know the clean read transcription guideline. So these projects will require you to use those clean read transcription guidelines. So apart from the clean read transcription guideline, you will need to use a double dash with space on each side of the sentence when you encounter false starts. So for example, when the speaker says I love you, then change to like you, then you will need to indicate this by using a double dash with a space on each side. So you will say I love space dash dash space like you. Another example, in 2020 there wasn't enough data due to the pandemic. So when you encounter false starts, always make sure that you use a double dash with a space on each side. Another specific guideline that you need to know is that first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter should only be capitalized in the intro portion of the call. So during the introduction portion of the call, you will hear these words such as first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and so forth. So these words should only be capitalized during that period, the introduction period. So operator instruction, always replace the operator's keypad instruction with this tag. The whole sentence should be replaced. So you should note that the whole sentence should be replaced. So when you hear words such as should you need assistance, press star 0, or to ask a question, press star 1, then you should replace these words with this tag, operator instruction. Note that the bracket that is used here is the square bracket. So you say operator instructions, then close the bracket. When performing any task in this project, symbols are only used when they are next to a number. So for example, 94%, you use the symbol percentage because it's next to the number. Even when the word dollar isn't mentioned, the symbol should be used when speaking about monetary value. So even when the speaker doesn't mention the word dollars and you are certain that the speaker is speaking about monetary value, you should always include the symbol dollars before the value. So for example, our revenue increased to 1.9 million. So what you will write is 1.9 million dollars. So when these symbols are spelled out and they are not next to a number, you should use the word, so spell them out. So for example, when they say percentage, you just say percentage. So you should always note the difference between when the word is said next to a number or when there is no number next to it. So if you encounter a foreign language, if a speaker talks in a foreign language other than English, you always mark it as foreign language using the square brackets. So for example, when translated into English, mark it with interpreted. But when a speaker speaks in foreign language and it's interpreted to English, then you should mark it as interpreted. So you should delete the words that has been said in foreign language and write there interpreted. So for example, Alan Smith spoke in foreign language, then Sarah Law interpreted Alan Smith words. So we will note that Alan Smith spoke in foreign language by putting the tag foreign language, and also we will note that this is an interpretation of Alan Smith's word, so we will say interpreted, then you write down the things that has been interpreted. So the same applies when the speaker's words are translated into English simultaneously at the same time as foreign language. So you need to add interpreted and the translation under the original speaker. So for example, Alan Smith, then you'll say interpreted, thank you for joining us today. Or note that you should not add in the tag interpreted to every new paragraph. Use it only when a new speaker starts. So don't add it to every other paragraph of the speaker. Use it only when the new speaker starts. So when it comes to fraction, you should always use numerals or when writing these fractions. So for example, when the speaker says 1/10, use 1 stroke 10, or 1/10, use 1 stroke 10. The word US should always be written as U.S. If the word US is at the end of the sentence, write U.S. and forgo the extra full stop. Always use in bracket PH when you spell a name or a word phonetically. So phonetic words, these are words that you can hear them clearly, but you are not sure if they are supposed to be written the same way. So for example, first question comes from Sienna. So the word Sienna, you don't know how to spell the name Sienna. So what you'll do is that you will write Sienna, then you put into bracket PH to note that that word is phonetic. That means that you heard it that way, but you don't know the correct spelling. You are not sure of the correct spelling. When you encounter the word etc., you write it as etc, then with a period. So always make sure that you include a period when you encounter the words etc. So even if the speaker says etc, just write it as etc. So unlike in clean read transcription, the word and may be used at the beginning of a sentence. So in these earning calls, you can use the word ands as you wish. So for example, you say, and in 2022 we expect to see a 15% increase. So guys, these are the common terms in the earning calls that you need to familiarize with before starting to do this project. So these words that you are seeing on the screen here, you must familiarize with them before you start doing any project on the Easy platform. So these words such as Form 10K, Form 10Q, non-GAAP financial measures, EBITDA, P&L, Q&A, net loss. So make sure that you write them the same way they are written here on the screen. So having gone through the TraX earnings calls corrector guidelines, now it's time for me to show you the live demo of what you should expect or what you should do when working on this platform. So what we are going to be doing here is just showing you how you can work as an EC corrector with Verbit. So as you can see on the platform here, we have chose the job, and here you can see that my role here is corrector. So this page here, when you just first get the job, it will show you all about the session. So you'll have here the session details. So it will show you here that before you start, these are all you need to know, that your role, first of all, is corrector, and the session is live education. So what you need to do first is approve each of your tasks for this session. So you have to approve that you will correct all the errors in the text without research. So you'll just click there. And also you will confirm or approve that you will separate the speakers. So as a corrector, your role mainly is to correct the errors in the text without doing any research. So you don't have to search for names of companies, name of people that are in the call, or any terms. So you just have to correct the errors that you can correct without doing any research. This is because the time that you're given to do these tasks, there are not enough time for you to do further research. So here again, we'll have the session details. So here you can see that it's a transcription for legal deposition EC, and it's a correctors training. Then the session started about 1 hour ago. Then what you want to do next is you click on team, so you can see how many people are on your team. So here we have 5 correctors, so it's you and 4 others. Then you'll have to listen to the first minutes before you get started, so that you get oriented to what you will be doing, or you get to know a few of the names that you'll be meeting during the session. So I will just play the first minute.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for standing by. Welcome to Strategic Education's fourth quarter 2020 results conference call. I will now turn the call over to Therese Wilkie, Manager of Investor Relations for Strategic Education. Ms. Wilkie, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Strategic Education's conference call, in which we will discuss fourth quarter 2020 results. With us today are Robert Silberman, Executive Chairman, Carl McDonald, President and Chief Executive Officer, and Daniel Jackson, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. Following today's remarks, we will open the call for questions. Please note that this call may include forward-looking statements made pursuant to the Safe Harbor provisions of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. The statements are based on current expectations and are subject to a number of assumptions, uncertainties, and risks that Strategic Education has identified in today's press release that could cause actual results to differ materially. Further information about these and other relevant uncertainties may be found in Strategic Education's annual report on Form 10-K to be filed, the most recent 10-Q, and other filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as Strategic Education's future 8-Ks, 10-Qs, and 10-Ks. Copies of these filings and the full press release are available for viewing on the website at strategiceducation.com. And now, I'd like to turn the call over to Rob. Rob, please go ahead.
Thank you, Therese, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. After a fairly eventful year, we have quite a lot of material to cover this morning. Carl will go over our operating and academic performance for 2020 and our plans for 2021. Dan will cover our detailed financial results.
So after you have listened to the first minutes of the session, then you'll just check on your time, and you see that we have almost 10 seconds only to start or get our task. So after you're done, you don't have to wait for the time to run out. You can just click here, get a task, and you will receive your task.
Welcome to Strategic Education's fourth quarter 2020 results conference call. I will now turn the call over to Therese Wilkie, Manager of Investor Relations for Strategic Education. Ms. Wilkie, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Strategic Education's conference call, in which we will discuss fourth quarter 2020.
Ms. Wilkie, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Strategic Education's conference call.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Strategic Education's conference call. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Strategic Education's conference call, in which we will discuss fourth.
So guys, as you have seen here, what I've done is first I added this name to the glossary by clicking Ctrl-G and then adding as a person. That's a name for person. Then also I've made sure that the role of the person is in capital, and also I've separated speakers by clicking Enter. So this was a speaker, and then this was another speaker. So you separate the speakers, and also the name of the call should always be in capital letters or start with capital letters. So that's how you do it. And now you can see here that our time is counting down. So you want to make sure that you submit every part that you're working on before the time elapses. So you can see here you have a warning that our time is running out, so we should be ready to publish. So I will just click Alt+P. Now my work has been submitted, and now I have a chance to work on another segment. So after you have published, another segment will appear and you will be able to work on them. So you have also to note that you can only work on the segments that are inside this box. You can't work on segments that are on the upper part of the box or are outside of the box. Yes, you can listen to them, but you cannot literally change anything or edit them. Here we have another feature here, which is take a break. So you can take a break after 24 minutes.
Financial Officer, following Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. Following today's remarks, we will open the call for questions. Please note that this call may include forward-looking statements made pursuant to the safe harbor provisions of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. The statements are based on current expectations and are subject to a number of provisions of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. The statements are based on current expectations and are subject to a number of assumptions, uncertainties, and risks that Strategic Education has identified in today's press release that could cause actual results to differ materially.
So if you look on the right-hand side, we have several features that you also need to know. So if you click on this feature here with the G on it, this is the glossary. So this is where all the terms that has been added on the glossary will appear. So you can see here we added a term, safe harbor. So it will appear here, and also the names of people that have been added, like Teresa Wilkie, has been documented on the glossary. If you click on this one here, this is a chat where you can speak to everyone that is in your group, so you can have a chat with them. And here you can find all the links towards the job that you are doing, and here you will find the keyboard shortcuts that you can use when working. And if you look at here, you can see the exit button. So if you want to leave the session, you can just click exit after the task.
Obviously, 2020 was a unique and challenging year, and certainly, thank you, Rob. Good morning, everyone. Obviously, 2020 was a unique and challenging.
So as you can see, the EC or earning calls, it uses clean read style of transcription, but do note that there are some exceptions that you can make. So for example, here you can start a sentence using the word and. So as you can see there, we have started a couple of sentences with the word and. So that is very okay when you are doing earnings call.
Definitely an undergraduate population, the segment of the population, a composition.
So as you can see here, what I'm trying to do here is that this sentence, I've realized that it is continuing on this part that I can't edit. So what I'll do is I'll just leave a room for the continuation. So we'll just put a comma here so that the next transcriber who is transcribing this part will just have to change this one to a small letter. Now the transcript can flow. So what I'll just do here is I'll just put a comma and then I'll leave it for the transcriber who will edit this part. So another thing worth noting is that this time that you are given when you are doing the training for EC, you must make sure that you are submitting your segments before this time runs off, because this is the parameter that is used to gauge if you are going to pass your test. So you want to make sure that you submit your segments as early as possible or as fast as possible.
That began in the third quarter of last year that reduces our annual run rate operating expenses by $40 million. Some of those savings are being reinvested into our new alternative learning segment, which is intended to further diversify our company.
So as I said before, to publish, you can either use Alt-P or you can just click on this box here and your segments will be published.
In November of last year, we closed our purchase of Torrens University.
So because Torrens University is a place, so we'll just add this one to the glossary. You can either highlight it the way I'm doing, and then you right click on it, then you say search in glossary. Then now you click add Torrens University as a place. So just click add. Another thing that you can do is you can just highlight the word Torrens University, then you click Control G, and then this one will pop, and then you say add as a place.
New enrollments grew 1% overall, but increased 25% at Capella University.
So when you encounter a word that is dented with the blue dent lines, they are trying to suggest that this word may be in the glossary, and what you need to do is you need to confirm that the word is correct, or you need to validate that the word is correct. So what I'll do is you'll just right click on the word that is dented, and then you see here the suggested word is Capella. So if it's right, I'll just click on the word to validate.
Capella University. It increased 25% at Capella University. In the fourth quarter, we successfully launched our new Workforce Edge product, which is our education benefits management solution for Fortune 1000 companies.
Very much for your help, and I think that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for all your questions, and we'll speak to you again in 3 months' time. Have a good day, everyone.
All right, thank you.
This concludes today's conference call. Thank you for participating. You may now disconnect.
When you are on the break, the countdown will start for the minutes that you have accumulated, and once they're over, you will need to return to the session, but you can also decide to return to the session before your time on break is over, and the time will still remain on your deck if you will want to use it again in the future. But also, again, you can decide to exit the session using this button. So when your break time is over, you will see this notification here that will tell you that if you don't join back very soon, you will need to be removed from the session. So what you need to do is click back on the session so that you can continue working because your team needs you. So when all the tasks are completed, when the session is done over, then you will see this page showing. It will tell you that your work is completed, and then it will show you all the stats about what you have done. So guys, I would like to thank you for watching this tutorial.